This is a recast of the 7,700-word piece, Ludwig Wittgenstein Influence on AI and Philosophy, from AI the IPs. Let's listen in.
The article discusses how Ludwig Wittgenstein, one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century, offers valuable insights into many of the foundational challenges AI faces. His contributions to the philosophy of language, cognition, and meaning provide a framework for questioning the nature of intelligence, both human and artificial.
Wittgenstein's ideas are vital in the discourse on AI, particularly in understanding the limits of what machines can achieve when compared to human intelligence. They help us question whether machines truly understand, or simply replicate patterns based on pre-existing inputs.
The essay structure discussed in the article includes various sections. The first looks at Wittgenstein's key philosophical ideas from his two major works, Tractatus, Logico-Philosophicus, and Philosophical Investigations.
Then it delves into the intersection of Wittgenstein's philosophical perspectives with the development of AI, looking at topics like language and meaning, rule following, consciousness, and understanding.
It then examines the ethics of AI through a Wittgensteinian lens, focusing on the limitations of AI in moral reasoning and decision-making.
The final part of the essay reflects on Wittgenstein's relevance in understanding AI's limits and implications for the future.
Looking at Wittgenstein's key philosophical ideas, he grappled with the relationship between language, thought, and reality. He developed a system of logical atomism, where he believed that the world consists of a series of independent facts, each expressed in language.
One of his famous claims is that the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. This suggests that language sets the boundaries of what we can meaningfully discuss.
He also had this idea called the picture theory of language. He argued that propositions are like pictures. They represent the world by depicting possible states of affairs. Just as a picture represents a landscape by arranging colors and shapes in a certain way, a sentence represents a fact by arranging words according to the logical structure of reality.
Later in his career, Wittgenstein's thinking shifted towards a more flexible, pragmatic understanding of language and meaning. He introduced the idea of language games, which reflects his new understanding of language as a social activity embedded in particular contexts of use. According to this view, language is not a rigid system of logical representations, but a set of practices where meaning arises from how words are used in different situations.
This shift in perspective laid the groundwork for modern linguistic philosophy and also presents significant challenges for AI systems that attempt to model human language.
In terms of rule following, Wittgenstein argues that following a rule cannot be reduced to mechanical application or internal logic. Instead, rule following is inherently a social activity, requiring agreement and shared practices within a community.
Here's where it gets interesting for AI. While machines may follow programmed rules, Wittgenstein's argument suggests that this mechanical process is qualitatively different from how humans follow rules within language games. For humans, following a rule involves interpretation, context, and social negotiation, aspects that AI might simulate but not genuinely replicate.
Wittgenstein's contributions extend beyond language to questions of mind and understanding. His famous private language argument challenges the notion that mental states are purely private and disconnected from shared social practices. This poses a significant challenge to AI models that attempt to simulate consciousness or understanding.
Natural language processing, NLP, is a field where AI has made significant advances. However, while AI can mimic the form of human language, according to Wittgenstein, they do not engage in the dynamic, socially grounded practice of language use.
That's a key point. The success of NLP systems thus rests more on their ability to pattern match and generate statistically probable responses than on genuine engagement in the form of life that constitutes human linguistic activity.
In the realm of consciousness and thought, Wittgenstein's philosophical approach casts doubt on whether machines can be conscious in any meaningful sense. If consciousness and thought are not merely private, internal phenomena, but are instead deeply rooted in social interactions and linguistic practices, then AI systems may never achieve genuine consciousness.
Agreed. It's about distinguishing between simulation and genuine experience. AI can simulate many human behaviors and responses, but is that equivalent to having conscious experiences? For Wittgenstein, understanding is not something that takes place in a private mental sphere, but in the public use of language.
When it comes to ethics, Wittgenstein's rejection of rigid formulaic approaches to meaning is mirrored in the debates over AI's ability to make ethical decisions. Wittgenstein's emphasis on the social nature of language further illustrates this divide.
Language for humans is not just a tool for communication. It's a way of interacting with and interpreting the world in the context of a community. AI remains an outsider to these communities. Its understanding is purely mechanical, devoid of the lived experiences and shared practices that form the bedrock of human language and thought.
That's it for today.